what he was saying about the history of Russia, again, he was not including any of the facts of how this conflict started and left out the entire history. Selectively chose to put in bits and pieces that suited him and suits his narrative, and unfortunately, that's not the truth. And I think
What's
your
the
viewers
truth, Ms. Watkins?
Sorry?
What's the truth?
The truth is that the Ukrainian people were the ones attacked by Vladimir Putin and his Russian army. Everybody saw this all around the world. There's video footage of how it started. We've been in this conflict for almost 3 years. I believe it's February will mark 3 years since this conflict started.
True, Ms. Watkins, true.
That's a long time. So yes, I'm glad we're not disputing that fact. The fact that the United States has continued to support Ukraine has been a tremendous boost to their ability to defend themselves. And myself, along with others who have worked in the national security space, I used to work at the Pentagon. We knew how serious the issue was as far as being able to defend themselves against the Russian military, and that they needed these ATACMs, they needed those Humvees, they needed those tanks, those ballistic capabilities a lot sooner. And there was a delay by the administration. I was part of a group of people that signed letters asking President Biden to issue these sooner.
Okay, Ms. Watkins, I want to ask you a question here. How will Trump's second term as president shape...
We got a long time to respond, and I'd like to respond. And the reason why President Biden did that and waited so long was politically speaking. He wanted to use his diplomatic levers as much as possible to not allow Putin to paint him into the corner of saying, see, he's now involving the United States and escalating this war, which would have taken the focus off of Ukraine being able to defend itself.
Okay, Mr. Markov, can you answer, please? Mrs. Watkins, please.
Yeah, Mrs. Watkins, in our discussion, we touch the reason of such conflicts. This is exactly what Vladimir Putin was talking a lot of time. He told we tried to solve this problem during 8 years. We signed Minsk agreement; it had been violated by Kiev. We signed Minsk II agreement; it's also have been violated. The sense of this conflict, the reason of conflict, is very simple. Americans in 2014, their intelligence service overthrown last democratically elected president of Ukraine, imposed in fact junta and illegal repressive regime with one goal, an idea to crash Russian identity and to make anti-Russia from Ukraine, to make the conflict between Russia and Ukraine some kind of as conflict between Palestinians and Israelis.
Okay, before I wrap up my program, because we're running out of time, I have to ask you, Mr. Markov and Ms. Watkins, a very a question that I see that I have to ask before we wrap up. How will Trump's second term, from both your perspectives as president, shape the future support for Ukraine?
I don't think his support is going to be near the support that President Biden showed Zelensky and the Ukrainian people. And you need to all go by
Then this is the answer of why President Biden took this decision.
Right. You need to go by what Donald Trump has said, which he considers the end to the war, meaning that Vladimir Putin is able to take the territory and start to annex the entire country of Ukraine into Russian territory. That's what he said. He thinks ending the war means he is not going to be supportive financially of supporting Ukraine. He doesn't feel that they deserve any money and that the U.S. taxpayers should not be footing the bill for that. He has been very clear about that. So I'm going by his words, and I hope that you do as well.
So this is your comments about, that's why you think that President Biden took this decision, Ms. Watkins?
Correct.
Okay, Mr. Markov, how do you read Trump's second term as president shape the future support for Ukraine?
We know that the main enemy of Donald Trump is not Biden. It's not even Democratic Party. It's so-called deep state. It's a big system of the American didn't change governmental bureaucratic institutions.
Sir, do you want to
And
say and state now what you said is that Donald Trump and the Republicans are going to be against Ukraine, not with Ukraine?
I think Donald Trump wants to have peace on Ukraine, and he will make pressure on the Russian leaders and Ukrainian leaders to stop the war and to come to the compromise. It's exactly what we suggested, is to have negotiation and about bilateral security and stopping the war. That's why I would say Donald Trump is a party of peace, and he will try to stop the war. And we're not fighting against Ukraine. We're fighting against criminal terroristic regime, which has been imposed by CIA of